Okay, today we're going to be interviewing a gentleman with the Hopes Bluff Fire Department, discussing some things to do with emergency management. Uh, so if we can start off by just what is your name, sir, if you don't mind telling us,
My name is Noah Davenport.
and what is your position title, and what is the name of the organization for which you work?
I'm the fire chief at the Hopes Bluff Volunteer Fire Department.
And how long have you been the fire chief, Mr. Davenport?
A little over 3 years.
Okay, all right. What do you think the mission, or if you had a mission statement for your organization, what exactly would that be?
I would say the mission statement would be protect the lives and property of the citizens of Hopes Bluff.
All right, all right. If a major disaster were to occur, not necessarily just a fire, but maybe some kind of spill or leak or something like that, or some kind of catastrophe like that, what would be your role specifically, and then what would the organization's role or the fire department's role be?
My role would, I guess, be I guess you'd say incident commander
Okay, yeah.
on the scene. And the organization's role would be handle whatever disaster it was, being a spill, we would contain it. Tornado.
Now, being a fire department, what level do you guys go to for like a hazmat incident, for example? Are you guys all technician level trained, or just awareness trained, or?
We vary. I think we have I know we have 2 hazmat techs,
Okay.
and the rest is just A&O.
All right. Could you describe your opinion between the relationship between emergency management and public administration? So, for example, the relationship between your department and like the mayor's office, or is it a good relationship, or who do you think has to give more?
Yeah, I don't know if it's like that everywhere, but up here the mayor and council support us and everything we do. It's a real good relationship.
Do you think it's important to have a good, personal relationship with everybody, or is it kind of just straight to the point business, or what do you think is better?
I think you got to have a good relationship, or you won't have a fire department that can function like it needs to function, especially in a volunteer fire department.
Right, right. Okay. So kind of along the same lines as that question we just asked, but what other organizations do you routinely work with?
We work with all the surrounding volunteer fire departments. We've also worked with Gadsden Fire Department a couple times. The EMA supports us whenever we need them. And we also work with the public works around here, the water board and street department.
Okay. How do you strengthen your relationship with these organizations? If you were to feel like maybe you needed to deal more with a certain organization, or there was maybe a little tenseness, or maybe you had some trouble communicating with them, how would you go about working to strengthen those relationships?
With the other volunteer fire departments around here, we usually just form some sort of training and get all the guys together and do some training, and that usually helps us learn each other. And
Do you guys see each other like on a social setting? Do you guys have any kind of, I don't know, like a fire or cookout or barbecue or anything like that, or do you just guys kind of?
we have one for the department up here. Usually on a yearly basis, we have a.
How often do you work like with the sheriff's department and the police department?
With the police department around here, we work generally.
Every time you have a call, pretty much.
Yeah, I would say 50% of the time, because a lot of times they'll go with us to make sure we don't need anything.
Right, right.
And sometimes they've actually called us to help them. So.
Okay. So you guys think you have a good relationship with the local
yeah,
stuff?
real good.
Moving on there. Is there a specific challenge that you see that might need to be addressed in the future, relationship to emergency management and public administration? Is there something that you've noticed since you've been here that might need to be strengthened or worked on, or?
That's a hard question. The only thing I seen that would help the fire department function better would be for the public administration to know exactly what the fire department does.
So a little more awareness of what your role is.
A little more awareness of what we do and what it takes to do some of the things that we do.
Okay. Do you think that's just a general lack of knowledge or a lack of effort to know, or do you think it's just something they kind of got too much on their plate to worry about, or how do you think that?
I think it's just a general lack of knowledge. I mean, some things, if you're not around them on a regular basis or have never been around it, you really don't know what goes into fighting a house fire or searching houses after a tornado to see if people are still in there. You don't know what's involved.
Right, right. So maybe a little more, not self-awareness, but just a generalized, more basic knowledge of what you guys are able to do and what you're not
Yeah.
able to do, so that
Yeah.
everybody's on the same page. Okay, I can see that. So in relationship to your training and what you guys train on, is there something that you wish was being taught better in relation to an emergency management side of the things, or something that you had to learn on the job that you wish you had known beforehand, or like personally, as a personal experience that you wish you'd have known maybe coming into the job?
Yeah, that's a tough question. There's a lot of things I wish that I knew. I guess just learning how to manage people on a scene and dealing with the stress of all the things that you got to worry about on a. I don't know if that's really a thing that can be taught, but knowing how to prioritize things while you're on a scene.
So you think maybe like you you mentioned incident commander earlier, so maybe a little more realism as far as that training goes.
Yes.
Be training, because I know people learn incident commander in the classroom, or you learn about it in another course, but maybe a little more hands-on experience with having to deal with that.
Yeah,
Maybe
instant
that'd be
command's real easy when you're learning about it in a class,
Mm-hmm.
and they tell you gotta contact these people, you gotta contact these people. When you actually get on an emergency scene and trying to remember all the things that you gotta do, plus keep up with your men that you got on the scene and what they gotta be doing, that
The stress level's kind of high, so. just a
yeah,
little-
sometimes.
I can see that. I can see that. All right. If you had to give a piece of advice to somebody who, say, walked in your office and said, I'm here to apply for a job, what is something that you would give them, a piece of advice to give them to kind of steer them in the right direction? Fresh kids straight out of high school or something, and they want to come work for you. What is the one big piece of advice you could give them before they try to jump on board?
Usually my advice would be, if you're gonna do it, you gotta put everything you got into it. If you're gonna be a firefighter, then you need to know everything you can about firefighting. When you become a medic, you need to know everything you can about being a medic. So you need to dedicate time to learning that craft, what you're gonna be doing.
So in other words, make sure this is what you want to do before you step into it,
Yeah,
right?
it takes a lot of dedication to learn the things that you need to learn to be a medic or be a firefighter, to be a good one, that somebody would trust
Right.
you.
Because a lot of people, like I know, even growing up, a lot of people see police officer or firefighter, and the cop gets to go run around carrying a gun. The firefighter, he just a cool, fun guy that jumps in the house and it's burning. But there's a lot more detail and a lot more that people don't see.
There is a lot more stuff that is not appealing than you really see until you actually start doing it.
So what do you think, moving on here, what would be the most rewarding part of your job? The very most best part of your job?
The most rewarding I get as a firefighter, fire chief, is one, actually helping somebody, whatever it may be, medic call, even if it's not that bad. Just being there for people and them know that you're there to help them, and the looks on their face when they know that's what you're there to do is help somebody.
So you would say it's more the intangibles, you know, not the pay, not the, but just the fact of maybe, you know, the thank you, the gratitude that people give you.
Yeah, not necessarily just the thank you, because some people don't thank you, but you know.
Just-
Sometimes you just know
Mm,
that they're glad that you're there on what's usually most people's worst day.
right.
They're glad you're there.
What do you think would be the most challenging aspect or part of your job?
Most challenging, I guess, would be staying focused on what you're trying to get done. In this business, it's kind of hard to stay focused sometimes, because you got stuff going good, and then all of a sudden you might have a bad call or something, and it knocks you right back down. So I guess staying focused on what you need to be doing.
Staying focused on the mission, not get
Focused
wrapped
on
up
the
in
mission.
I can see that. All right. Well, we thank you for your time. Is there anything else you might want to just mention, or any other clues or hints you might want to give somebody about joining the public administration emergency management field? Or?
Public emergency management is one of the most rewarding things I've ever done,
Right.
and it's also one of the most pain in the butt things I've ever done.
I can understand that. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you very much.
No problem.